had a good day. Today the market was really volatile, but I am going to show you guys how to find the trend, because a lot of people are always saying like if I should go bullish or bearish, is the market going up or down, you know, the same thing. But I am going to show you guys why is it important to identify a trend, especially when you want to catch a big move incoming. All right, so I'm gonna go over just the really basic as fast as I can, probably a 5-minute video. Hopefully you guys don't get mixed up. So how to find a trend. Okay, so basically there's up and down, right? That's it, and neutral, which is that's basically consolidation zone, but we're just gonna go over trend lines today just to not get you overwhelmed. All right, so what is a trend line? A trend line is basically, it is allowing you to view the trend direction of the stock, right? A lot of people use moving averages, the 90 EMA and 21 EMA, which I'm going to go over in the next video. But so far, you could use a line. That's basically, I'm pretty sure, as simple as I could put it. Pretty sure you've seen it online all over the place, where there's a line just coming through the stock, and it breaks and they buy, and you want to wonder why it's going. Why are they putting that line there? So there's a reason for that, right? So the way you use a trend line is by looking at different time frames, and that depends on the bigger move. For me, I don't like using the smaller time frame unless I'm scalping. As a new trader, if you're a new trader and you're losing in the market, just use the 1 hour time frame or the 4 hour time frame and just really wait patiently. Just literally just wait. The whole market is about waiting and having patience and actually executing when there is a trade on something that you see. When you start making enough stuff in your head, you will not be allowed to make profits, because it's just stuff that's going on and you think it's going up and you think it's going down. So far, just drawing a trend line will help you identify whether you should get calls or wait for a breakout, a trend line breakout, which I'm going to go over now. How to draw a trend line: basically you have to look for peak of prices, swing highs or swing lows, at least 2 to 3 swing points to connect in order to become a trend. All right, so let's go over. I have a setup here. This is just basically, which is did everything right. So first off, you do want to go off starting on the bigger time frame. So if you guys don't use TradingView or recognize TradingView, daily, weekly, 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute, I'm going to go over this in a lot of videos. So let's go on the weekly, right? Let's see where SPY, the S&P 500, which is the main ticker that everybody using to extend the overall market, right? So let's see trend line. I'm gonna draw a trend line. So far you could just straight out see at a pinpoint that it's going up, right? It's going up, and now you see it coming down. Just super easy by the eye. But let's see how would this trend line will help, right? So if you notice this downfall that this happened on pandemic, if we start adjusting our line, which it happened right above here, right? It touched once here and then it bounced. So let me just show you guys what I mean. Goes up, comes down, goes up. Usually you expect another bounce. Bounce meaning it's gonna bounce off. This could be a support. So you want to label this as a support. Why is it support? Because it's at the bottom side. Alright? Support. I have it labeled already. This will be your support. So you expect the bounce. So what happens when it breaks out of this? Once it breaks, you expect it going back to the downside to break down the upside trend, which is up. This is a bullish trend going up, and now it'll come down, right? This happened and it came down, since this is the weekly, let's check the daily now. Let's see what happened during that level. So let's go back in time. Right? Look. Came up. Obviously you are not able to see what's gonna happen here. I'm gonna go over that right now. Just I'm looking over the past just to show you guys how this trend works. So far it did not break from here, right? It didn't break, kept going up, pushed up again, and then it made another high. Dropped down, and as soon as it broke this trend line, right, the upper trend line going up, it broke. The stock literally just broke down, right? It broke down here, right at that 3. If you look at the level 313, right, 313.13, you can see it right there. You can even see my how my line is going through 313.88, right? So it broke out of this trend, broke out, and what did it do? Came back to retest, and it dropped even further. Basically, you would have bought again once it rejected. But the thing is that you do need to be able to wait and get a confirmation that it is going to pull back and keep dropping further. The thing is that a lot of people, when they use trend lines, they try to find either a candle or moving average rejection or something like that that's going on, and they just get in. As soon as it touches, you'll get in. And this was something scary like this, right? Let's say you see a touch and then you get in and you get profits, and then you get in again because you think it's going to keep going higher, and then it drops and now you're red and you get out, and then it comes back up. There's a reason why you have to use multiple time frames. As you can see on this direction, right, when this broke down, I have a video about candles, right? So get to look into that video. It shows how this shooting star, it's called a shooting star, which is inverted of a hammer, it dropped down. It dropped down, indicating that it's going to keep going to the downside, right? So now, right here, before I start getting like, oh, you don't see any red candles or that it rejected or any wick coming off this, that's why you have to go to the smaller time frames. When you go to the smaller time frame, let's go to the 4 hour. Let's go all the way back again just to show you exact same place, present position. What happened here? Remember how I showed you guys that shooting star candle that was going on? When it came back up, you get a big wick and a shooting star, a long leg doji. Is this almost the same thing? Flushing back to the downside, right? Look at that. Rejecting what? 313.23. Okay, so now that's the weekly. All right, this is the weekly. So don't remember, we're looking at the bigger time frame to see what we're gonna get into. So far, what do we know? What happened here, right? We know that on the biggest time frame, the weekly, out of all these months, the reason why the weekly is a bigger time frame is because on this day, I have the date right at the bottom so you guys can see what I'm talking about. The date on December 18 of December 24 of 2018 has been going up all the way since the year 2020 of February 28. That's when it broke out. That's 2 years, and now it did a downtrend. It went bearish after 2 years, right? So there will go your entry. Then imagine, like I said, this will be your first one. We saw it on the daily, the shooting star right around here, remember? Came back down, came back up, and it rejected. So remember how I said about the touches and the trend on this one? It had very little, minimum, right? On the daily you saw, I mean the weekly, you saw how many minimum of touches it was. But look, once you did that on the weekly, look how many touches. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 5. And that was it. So now, that's the biggest time frame you got, right? So now, how would I get in here? Using the trend line also. How far can it drop? How do we know if it's not gonna come back up inside here and do what we expected, right? Or we thought it was gonna keep doing this. Okay? So the way that we know that is that you could do the same thing that we did on the bigger time frame on the weekly, right? So you go back, comes back up, bounce, touches around this area, and then it jumps back up. As soon as it flushes down, it does do that retest that everybody talks about, which is most of the time the stock does do this. It does come back and retouch. But I'm just trying to keep it as simple as I can for you guys to learn. Okay, so now you could just follow on the 4 hour. Like I said, the bigger time frame, the better. Look at follow it, right? What happens? You get one touch, right? Again, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. That's as soon as you see 3 times, the 4th time usually it just keeps going up. Second time is good. The 3rd time you could catch it, right? It repeats itself. That's the whole point of the market. So now this was a support on the smaller time frame, 4 hour, right? And what happens when it broke down? Just came back down again. It continued the bigger trend. So now, let's see. We're just gonna keep sticking to this area. We saw this on the weekly, right? Let's say you did this different. Let's say, okay, you're gonna say I'm wrong because it always happens. Let's delete this drawings. And now, let's say you didn't have this up, but you had something like, we go to the weekly again. We delete this. We go to the weekly. Talking about back then. And let's say you're like, oh, I can't match this, right? You feel like it's wrong. It's fine. Let's put it the other way. Let's put it this way, because it looks better on your eye, right? Even though you have this trend, just know that as soon as this breaks down, you're gonna go and short the market. See that? Breaks down, comes back. No matter what you do, that's why trend lines work a good amount of time. Look, came back down, reject it, and then just flush down, right? That was a support. Broke down to the downside, saying go to the 4-hour now, and let's see what happens. We're on this position. Let me go all the way back again. All right, there you go. More touches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Kept moving up. And this one, the thing that happened was that once it came back above that trend line, you could have placed some positions to go high, right? To buy calls, which I'm an option trader, or go long in the market. Came back down, flushed, and it broke down again. It broke down below it, and it's showing you right exactly there. As soon as below, you get out, you go back to your short positions. So now, hopefully that's not confusing. That's basically coming down. So now let's say this is a recap, right? This is a rewind of this trading view. I'm going back in time just to show you. So now let's go back to this day, whatever day we're in. We start seeing that this trend line it broke, right? This was on the weekly. We do another one here, right? We do another one. Broke down, came back down. There's our support. Broke, flushed. The same thing with the top. If you start seeing this on top, you could follow it also, and it'll create what you call a channel. This will be our resistance. So every time it touches the top, you can actually short the market and come back down, right? And as you can see also, between this bigger time frame on the weekly, this is what you see that's following. Once it broke down, it's a nice big to the downside, nice big like drop, right? Let's go to the 4-hour, the daily, just to show you how it works. Let's fix it a little bit here. There you go. So now even between the trend line, once you start going to a smaller time frame, there's another trend line, you see? But so far, what was your major trend line? The weekly. This is your major trend line. So now look what happens here. Find another one, right? What happens when this broke? When this broke support. Broke down, came back up, kept going. You could stretch this out even more, and you can see how this even works. It affected the whole market also, look. So now what happened here? Since this broke trend, now we're in a downtrend, right? So now let me show you on the smaller time frame. Let's say you don't have the weekly. Let's say you don't want to do the big levels, the weekly, and you start stick to the daily. And you notice what happens here, right? It broke down. Let's make this shorter. Let's make this shorter here. Let's say you're in this position. Like this. Let's go back. And you're saying, okay, I want to buy calls here or go long in the market. You wait for a candle recognition. That's why you need to look at the other videos that I have. And okay, it broke down. Candle close. We could still see more farther to the downside. It finally broke. And you start putting your levels, which is around 425 that I would have. 425, another one here. Right? Bounced off. We still got to be careful because we're not in an uptrend yet. And now you see that it's creating a higher high. A lower high. See, it stopped here. There's your pivot, your high point of this section. So guess what? Since we know that broke, we can start doing this to the downside. Resistance. Once it breaks this, we're gonna go up again. See that? And this is using the daily. The same thing you use here, you use in the bigger time frame. Okay, so now let's keep going. Made a high on this side, right? It stopped. Let's stretch it out. Even here, it stalled. You make another trend line. What happens? Broke it. But so far, you do want to keep your eye on the biggest trend line, which is the weekly time frame. Weekly time frame, what shows you of the overall market for the rest of the year, basically. Sometimes So big, the bigger the level, the bigger the time frame, the way of a bigger move you'll catch. So now look, why are we still bearish, including today is January 24th. Let's see if the market is bearish or bullish yet. Has it changed trend? Let's check it out. Okay, it's forward, broke trend, right? So now this became obviously resistance. Okay, so it became resistance. But the thing is that we're just gonna have it there. So for me, I like to keep it another color. So I would keep it something like this, because I know it broke down, and then now I'll just follow this top side. Okay, so now you know that we're bearish. So if it breaks this, we're gonna go bullish, right? Let's keep going. Broke bullish, stayed on top of here. So now what you want, once this happens, you want this to come up and follow back up. It didn't. It came back inside. And the tricky part of this one that a lot of people get confused, like, okay, it broke out to the top, fine. Like I said, it broke out this trend line. What did happen? You would have played this day, you would have made some money. You still would have made money. Look at this. The 4 hour shows you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. Once it broke out, it gave you 10 days of just to the upside. So now since this happened on the weekly, and now you see that it gave another peak, maybe you want to do another line here just to see what's going to happen, right? This is the thing that people get confused. At some point now it showed you a different high, and you can actually see now that once it broke out, it still worked. This still worked, so you won't get confused. This happened already, this is the past, and now you want to see what's going to happen next. So far now you find a different position, right? So now there's your resistance there. I'm trying to keep this video short. Resistance. Now you expect more touches, right? More touches somewhere around there. Just keep following it. That's all you want. This is where you take positions for puts or short. And the same thing goes to the bottom side. That will be your support. You see, just follow it. For me, I like following the wicks. Looks more better, the more touches. Sometimes they get more touches, and so far it does look. So now we'll support, and let's keep going. Let's keep going to today's date. Wow, you see that? Kind of close to the dot, but whatever. Put that there. So we're bearish so far. Look, we're bearish since January 2022, first of the year. Now we stretch it out. You see, keep stretching it out, stretching it out, stretching it out. Keep following it, keep following it. See that? So now you gotta be patient. You gotta be patient with the market itself. If we do break out of this, then this will become our support, and then we could go higher. Alright, but so far you follow this, and now since you're trading today on the market, you want to be able to catch the trends, right? You go to the 4 hour, and that's when you use the trend lines. Follow the trend, broke down, came back down, and then now you're just waiting for this day, which is now. When you start seeing stuff like this, alright, don't get confused. Just go to a smaller time frame. This does look confusing. I know what you guys are gonna say. It does look confusing, right? Because you see that it broke down, nice move. But then here, how am I gonna? You're gonna probably do this, right? What I would do is this. Actually, do this. Don't try to delete the line and try to do something like this, because it's not gonna work out. Just have it like that. Literally. Have this. Be patient. Go if you want to enter on the smaller time frame, or even when it goes down. All of these become patterns. See that? Look. Like what happened here. Follow it. Support. Broke out of the resistance. Let me give you another level. Up. Broke out. See that? Make another trend line. Dropped again. And then now you're just following this one. That's creating another trend. This actually a pattern. Bonding wedge. See that? So now the same thing that happened on the bigger time frame, guess what could happen here? Come back down to tap here and then go back up. This is a bearish pattern, though. That's the thing you gotta know. This is a bearish pattern. Goes like this, and then it comes back down. So yeah, hopefully the trend line thing doesn't confuse you. Just know, bigger time frame. Remember, I'm using the bigger time frame, and then I start using the smaller ones. 4 hours, same thing like what happened here on this 4 hour. You follow it, broke down, right? That's yours. You see that? Just be extra patient. Don't get confused on this. Alright, you guys. Quick video. It was a 20-minute video, but I was trying to make it as quick as I can. Hopefully this works out. And yeah, just get the bigger trend line, and let's start finding trend lines in between the 1 hour and the 4 hour, and those will be your levels, especially when you want to do on a small account. These are daily 4 hour moves. So these little gray areas here, the areas you find that are kind of dark color, that's a day. Look what happened, how it pumps up, right? And you can find trend lines, like I said, trend lines in between trend lines. That's the thing. Look, trend line broke out, right? Trend line broke out, trend line broke out, trend line broke out. And it's just waiting for patience. Like today was weird. Nothing happened literally on the market. So this little trend line did break, but it didn't do a bigger move. Why it didn't do a big move? Because this is the 1 hour. When you find a bigger trend line on the 4 hour, that's when you get the biggest move. Alright, you guys, take care. It's a really quick video. Hopefully this helped. Go to my other YouTube videos that I have. It's about the candlesticks. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about and how you can find a rejection level or how the wicks are, I have a video about candlesticks so you guys can learn. Just follow the rest and like and subscribe. Alright, you guys, see you guys later.